Hi, this is Bill Highland of Ghost and Spirit Paranormal. This is my second episode of my problem with, and in this episode I'll be discussing my problem with EMF detectors. It's not so much the EMF detectors I have a problem with. They do exactly what they're designed to do, and they do it very well. The problem I have is with the interpretation and the means of collecting this data using these devices. Before I get into all that, let me just kind of briefly go over what EMF is and what it can consist of. Electromagnetic field can consist of three different types of waves. You have magnetic waves, electric waves, and radio waves. And all the popular EMF detectors out there, your off-zone meters, your K2s, your ghost meters, Mel meters, tri-field meters, and a whole slew of other ones. They're all responsive to those three different types of frequencies. And generally they're within the 20 hertz to the 3 gigahertz range, so it's a pretty wide spectrum that they can detect. So unfortunately, in that spectrum of what they can detect, there are a slew of things in our environment that can produce false positives. Just flat out, that's just the plain truth. You have walkie-talkies, 151 megahertz to 462 megahertz, within that range. That's dead smack there. I mean, every one of them's going to pick that up. Cell phones, all your carriers, AT&T, Metro, Sprint, Verizon, US Cellular, their voice transmission data lines or data frequencies are 800 to 1900 megahertz. The G3, G4, the data lines, those are all in the 17 to 21 megahertz. Those are all a little higher, but still, every one of these meters will respond to it. CB radios on the lower end, 26 to 27 hertz. Other possibilities, baby monitors, EM pumps, Wi-Fi networks, microwave ovens, electrical wiring in the house, walls, ceilings, and floors, large appliances. All of these things will set these meters off. Not only your meters, but your REM pods. I'll kind of throw them in there too because it's kind of in the same type of deal. If you stick a REM pod anywhere near, say, a microwave oven, just do it once and see what it does. It just freaking goes crazy. So what's happening here is I think that we're losing control of the environment so easily, and we're completely ignoring other possibilities of these responses to this equipment. I know sometimes it seems extremely intelligent, and I know a lot of times you're just caught up in the moment and you don't stop to think about other possibilities. I'll give an example. I just watched a video here not too long ago, which is one of the reasons that inspired me to do this little episode. A fellow's walking down a hallway in an upstairs in a building, and he's got a K2 meter in his hand, and he's holding it about chest level or so, and he's walking down the hallway. And he stops and he makes a right-hand turn and goes into a bathroom. Now, in this video, you can clearly see that there's a bedroom lamp on and a few other electronics. You see the clock, but there's power in the house. They never kill the breakers. But anyhow, he makes a right-hand turn into this bathroom, and he takes about a half step in there, and that K2 meter just freaking flips out. I mean, it's just going completely crazy. He's giddy as a 6-year-old schoolgirl. He just can't contain himself about, oh my God, all this activity in here and all this and all that. And I had the guy just taking 5 seconds to turn his head right. There's a 3-gang light switch right at chest level, and I guarantee that thing's throwing EMF out like crazy. And not 1 second did he even consider that it could have been possibly anything else other than what he wanted it to be. So we really get caught up in this stuff, okay? And I'm going to kind of put it in perspective. This is how silly it is. I go on an investigation with my group, and we go into a house, and the first thing we notice is this fireplace. It got a blazing fire in this fireplace, and it's throwing out massive amounts of heat. It's freaking hot in that living room. We go out to the kitchen. Oven doors open the whole way. Gas is turned up the whole way. All 4 burners on the top are blaring heat. It is smoking hot in this joint. And I turn to my buddy and say, yep, they got that thermostat turned way up because it is hot in here. Well, that's what we're doing. we're ignoring other legitimate explanations as to what's going on. It has nothing to do with the furnace. It has to do with the fact that the fireplace is hot and the stove is hot. There are other possibilities out there. So what can we do to try to eliminate as many of these possibilities as we can? First thing we can do is turn off your damn cell phones. Okay? Pretty simple. Just turn the damn power off. If you can, if it's all possible, kill the electricity of the house, because that will knock out a lot of the false positives. You're not going to have electricity running through the walls and the floors and the ceilings. Your appliances aren't going to be putting out EMF. Your Wi-Fi's are going to be shut down. Your baby monitors are shut down. Everything is shut down inside that environment that could potentially cause false readings. Is it going to stop everything? No. You could have a neighbor who has a Wi-Fi network set up and it's blaring signals over your way, and you may get a spike here and there. And that's another problem we have, is we cannot completely control the environment that we're doing our investigations in when we're using meters like this. There's just too many possibilities. A truck driver could be driving 200 yards away from you using a CB radio, and it could set one of your devices off. And how do we tell the difference between outside interference and what may be paranormal? We can't. No way that I can think of, unless you're in a giant 4 or 5 layer Faraday cage with everything grounded. That's the only way that you can possibly eliminate these outside interferences. And as far as I know, that's not very feasible. So until we find out ways to eliminate all these possibilities, you have to be extremely skeptical of the data that you're collecting. Okay? No matter how relevant the responses are to the questions you're asking, no matter you just can't use this as evidence when there's possibilities out there that can explain what had just happened. Because if you bring something like that in front of a skeptic that knows what they're talking about, they're going to level your ass. First thing they're going to say, what did you do to control your environment? Is it CB interference? Is it cell phone interference? And you're going to go, You know, it's just one of those hard facts. You know, now, does an EMF meter have a use in paranormal research? Of course it does. Client says, hey, you know, we go into this section of the house, we feel sick, we get headaches, we don't like being in there, we get nervous, we get paranoid. You know, those are all symptoms of high EMF fields, and you can use your meters to detect those areas and identify the problem locations. That is 100% reliable information coming from a K2 meter or a tri-field meter or any of your meters. That is solid proof. And you could say, okay, and this is all backed by scientific studies, that there are people that are hypersensitive to EMF. And these are some of the symptoms that are displayed. So you say, okay, we have some unshielded wiring. Your bedroom's right next to an electrical meter that's on the outside wall. The EMF levels inside your room are most likely making you sick. We need to get a contractor in here and get these wires shielded. You know, there is a reason and a good purpose for EMF meters, excuse me. But is it a legitimate tool to communicate something paranormal? With all the other possibilities out there that can cause hits, you know, it's almost impossible to determine whether it's paranormal or whether it's some kind of stray signal coming in. So you have to question the validity of the instrument altogether. At least I do. I've already used it in cemeteries where the nearest hard road was 7 miles and there wasn't a power line within miles, and I had spikes. Was it paranormal? Maybe. Was it CB traffic? Maybe. Cell phone? Maybe. There's just no way to know. So take it into consideration. You know, don't get yourself too wound up over these things, because chances are it's something else causing these false positives. I mean, if there's someone else that can explain to me better ways to eliminate these possibilities, let me know, because I'd like to hear them. I mean, I'm trying to figure this out, but a lot of the things I do understand, and the biggest thing I understand is that there are way more things out there that can cause hits on these K2 meters than there are spirits that can do it. Okay? That's just the way it is. Especially in this technological world we live in. So just kind of take that all to heart and do a little background study on the electromagnetic spectrum and the different types of waves that your meters are responsive to, and it'll better help you to eliminate some of the possibilities when you're doing investigations, if you choose to keep using your meters. Now I'll still use my meters, but I always keep in the back of my mind other possibilities, and I've never to this day claimed anything to be paranormal using a K2 meter, because it's unexplainable. You just can't determine what's causing it. So keep that in mind, and until the next episode, thanks for watching.